Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omni Viewer, and I'm here to do a quick unscripted review. Well, I always say quick at the beginning, but they usually wind up being very long. I'm here to do an unscripted review, reaction, thoughts thing on My Little Pony the movie. So, this is a movie I actually was kind of hesitant to see, not because I'm not a fan of the show, because, I am, you can see. Most of my hesitancy came from how, adult man walking into a theater that would mostly probably be full of young girls. I go up, I order a ticket, and the people go, okay, here's your ticket, now let me just put you on a list, okay. But, I eventually got to a point where I decided, you know what, I'm basically just psyching myself out, and I know that there are quite a few of you in my audience who are looking forward to hearing what I have to say about this. So, partly just because I felt like I had to get over myself, and partly because I know you guys deserve to hear some reviews of this thing, and you're looking forward to hearing what I have to say, I did go and see it. And it is good. It's a good movie. It's not necessarily a blow you away kind of great movie, but it's a good movie. Let's see. The question I'm sure a lot of people are wondering is, who is this movie for? Is it for the longtime fans, or is it for newcomers? And I think the answer to that question is yes. Now, on the one hand, it is predominantly meant to be for the newcomers. Not really, it's meant to be universally accepted. Like, if this is the first time you've ever encountered the franchise at all, you would know the basics from watching this movie. So there are no continuity things. You don't have to have seen all the previous seasons in order to understand what's going on here, even though it's clearly set at a certain point, because Twilight Sparkle has her wings, Starlight Glimmer is not a primary character, but she does show up, so that's clearly after her reformation. Even though there's stuff like that in there, you don't necessarily have to have seen you don't need to have seen what came before it in order to understand this movie. And that does mean the opening is kind of devoted to introductions, not like a complete, it's not like a drawn out introduction, but it is meant to reacquaint you with the characters, so you know the basics of who they are. But, otherwise, if you're a longtime fan, if you've been watching the series for a long time, you're deeply ingrained in the fandom and everything, there's a lot of stuff there for you. Believe you me. Just because it isn't some continuity-heavy, mythology-enriching kind of film. Well, there is some mythology enriching, but let's stick to the continuity part for now. Just because it's not filled with continuity and doesn't give time to every single new character who's shown up at any particular point, that doesn't mean there's nothing there. There's quite a bit there. I think just about every character who has ever shown up appears in the first couple of minutes, certainly during the first number. There are so many. The background is packed, let me tell you. So there are probably going to be a lot of people, I'm sure, who go and say, ooh, there's Derpy, there's Octavia, there are Lyra and Bonbon, things like that. They're just in the scene. Sometimes they play major parts of the scene, but, they're there, they're noticeable, and they are clearly put there for the longtime fans. That's not the only thing, though. There's also, the dialogue's a bit punchier than you might expect from a G-rated kids film in this day and age. Not that there have been many G-rated films at all in this day and age. What was the last one? The Peanuts movie? And every other animated kids film has been PG because they feel like they need to sneak in that subtle, mature humor for the adults. There's nothing like that in this movie. There's no mature well, define mature, I guess. There's nothing in it that would necessarily warrant a PG rating, but that doesn't mean it's just fluff. So, but enough about that. Back on track. What was my track? See, my brain is running faster than my mouth is. Okay, so what's in it for the fans? I've already mentioned the background characters. I was on the dialogue. The dialogue is better than you'd expect, like I said. There's plenty of stuff in there, like there are the cliche lines of "this ends now" or "we're all in this together," things like that you would expect from a kind of epic adventure film. But there's also some good humor in there as well. Nothing like, me personally, I found it all chuckle-worthy. I was laughing at it, but not like guffawing, that's hilarious kind of stuff. It's more like, that was a good one, or, well, that was a groaner, but, you know, it was still worth a smile. That's the kind of humor that was in it. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a deal breaker for any of you or not, but if you're expecting like a boisterous laugh out loud comedy, or you're expecting straightforward drama, it's somewhere in between, more skewing towards comedy, but it's not like a raucous comedy. And of course, the primary reason why you would want to see this on the big screen is because of the huge animation bump. Like, I was in that initial crowd who saw the trailer and thought, wow, this is going to take a while to get used to because it looks so different. And turns out I got used to it pretty quickly over the course of the events leading up to the movie, seeing more of the trailers and clips and images. And yes, it's worth seeing this on the big screen, I think, because it is amazing to look at. There's so much detail that went into every little shot that you see. I mean, they really put a lot into this visually. Not that it's all just eye candy, but interestingly enough, this is a very dark movie. Not dark, well, yes, dark tonally, but also dark visually. As said in the episode of Non-Moving Pictures that I did, the poster, despite being very bright and colorful, was also very dark in terms of the lighting and whatnot. And the movie fits that as well. A lot of the settings are there's a lot of darkness, a lot of shadow, in stark contrast with Equestria itself, which, as you would expect, is very bright and colorful and vibrant. Everywhere else looks, I don't want to say dull and drab, but it's a much darker area. So, and I think that obviously was deliberate, because Equestria is supposed to be the beacon of utopia in this world. Everywhere else, not so much. And that actually plays into a lot of the plot as well, because you've got the characters going into territory that is completely alien to them. So they don't necessarily know how to act there. How you act in Equestria, not necessarily guaranteed to get the same results if you act that way somewhere outside of Equestria. I won't give anything away, although it's not like this is a very unpredictable kind of plot. You kind of, maybe not if you're in the target demographic, but if you're an older fan such as myself, you can kind of call a lot of the shots before they happen. But that's not necessarily a big detractor. I mean, like, it's just because it's predictable doesn't mean it's not enjoyable, if that makes any sense. Because, you know, even superhero movies these days, you know what's going to happen in a superhero movie in the general sense. The hero's going to fight the bad guy and eventually win. There's going to be a darker part in the middle where it seems like all is lost. You know, superhero movies have a certain rhythm, but people still really love them. I really love them. And that's in spite of the fact that generally there is a formula that they stick to. Well, My Little Pony the movie has a formula, it sticks to that, but it does it well. It plays that formula well. It's kind of like AC/DC. They play the same song over and over and over again, just with slightly different lyrics and slightly different notes, but it works, right? So, yeah, that's what I mean basically by that. So, I was going to say, lest you think I'm just gushing, there are a couple of things that I don't think quite necessarily worked. Like, when they win over the airship pirates to their side, and quick side note, if there are no fan-made projects set to the Abney Park song Airship Pirates featuring these characters, I will be very disappointed with a lot of you. But anyway, the way they win them over, that felt a little too quick. Like, I get why they would want to go back to being cool pirates, but even for the genre, it felt a little too sudden for that change. But, you know, just all the quicker to getting to see airship pirates being airship pirates, right? So, and also, let's see, I don't necessarily know if all of the characters necessarily got their dues. Like I said, this is meant to be sort of the laying down the basics version for any newcomers. But that means that the characters also are boiled down to their basics. Again, it's not like they become caricatures of themselves, what some people refer to as flanderization. At least I don't think so. But if you're expecting any sort of complexities beyond the superficial, I guess you would say, you're not going to get that. This isn't a movie that's, like I said, building on the continuity of the series, so you're not going to see assertive Fluttershy or anything like that. But, you know, you're still getting the characters you know and love. So, yeah, I mean, it was a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't even feel awkward about being in the theater after a while. I didn't go alone, but I would have felt very awkward if I went alone. But, yeah, that's beside the point. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I think it's worth seeing in theaters at least once. If you're a really diehard fan, like even more of a fan than I am, then you're probably going to see it more than once. But, you know, if you're new to the series and you are wondering if you need to brush up on your continuity to see this film, don't worry about that. And otherwise, yeah, I'd say go see it. I enjoyed it. I am not satisfied with having simply done an unscripted video of it like this, but I'm probably gonna go more in depth once it's out on DVD and I can actually, you know, have access to the nice, clear, non-bootlegged footage. Shame on you for bootlegging, by the way, if you have. So, yeah, that's the essence of it. I will do a more in-depth review once it's out on DVD. But for now, it's good. I say go and see it. So, what did you guys think? Did you see it? Did you enjoy it? Do you not give a darn? As always, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off.